and you have done that, you can read your activity book while we wait for everyone to get into their seats. We're going to do things a little bit differently today. Instead of starting off with writing or vocabulary, we're actually going to start with reading. So we're going to start with our wonder lesson for today. So you can turn in your packet to the next page, the second page. It's the dirt quiz. So once you're there, make sure the first thing you do, so SRT books are away now. Our SRT books are away. We're opening up to the dirt quiz. First thing you should do is write your name, date, and homeroom on the dirt quiz. I'm setting the timer now. You have 3 minutes to complete the dirt quiz at a level 0. Once you're done, you can sit and start. Minute and a half left. Seconds. When the buzzer goes off, your pencil goes down. Okay, pencils down. Everyone's pencils are down. SRT books are closed. You can rip out your dirt quiz, switch it with the person next to you. This is a quick process. Rip, switch. Okay, so everybody should have a new dirt quiz at this time. Let's go through it. What color did Miranda dye her hair? Jordan. Pink. Pink. What did did Via lie to her parents about? Jaden.
How she got home from school.
How she got home from school? What did she tell her parents? Jaden?
Oh, she told their parents that
What your comes about? What did Via tell her parents about how she got home? Sebastian?
She told her that she went with her aunt and her mom and they got pizza. And she started making so much excuses to hide up the fact that she took the subway.
Okay, great. Thank you. What did Via see her mom doing in the middle of the night? Prince. Standing outside of August's bedroom. Good. And what did Via wonder when she saw her mom standing outside of August's room in the middle of the night? Sana?
She does it at his.
Good. Mom is worried about. What is mom worried about? Zaisha?
Via taking her subway home by herself.
Great. D. Via carries the gene that aided in August's condition. True or false? Zaire. False.
False.
Anybody want to argue that? Jordan?
I think it's true because what we learned from yesterday's lesson is that it may or may not carry through the family, and even though it doesn't happen to you, you still have it.
Okay, so it may or may not carry through the family, meaning that you may or may not express a trait that you have,
Yes.
right? So you might have a gene for something that you're just not expressing.
Yes.
Okay, and what you were supposed to read for your homework on Wednesday, I know it was a while ago, was the sections breakfast, Genetics 101 and Punnett square. Okay, good. And this information was found there, that Via does carry the gene that aided in August's condition. Okay? And last question. Who insists that Via is old enough to ride the subway alone? This is also from what you read from homework. Dejan?
Or dad.
Or dad. Okay, great. So the total is 6. You have 6 questions. The correct number goes on top. Give the quiz a score. And we'll start with this row here, passing it down to the right. Do not pass it until you grab from the left. So grab from the left and pass it to the right. Passing all, wait, grab from the right first. Remember, it's a respectful, gentle, silent pass.
The 8.
Thank you.
You don't need to walk over to pass it. Ahmad, pass it to Zaire. Zaire, pass them down this way. Ahmad, pass them on. Bumpity bump up. Bump up. When we pass these dirt quizzes down, there is no reason that anybody should be talking. That's an expectation that was set from the first day that we did the dirt quizzes. It's a silent, gentle, respectful pass. Nobody needs to get out of their seat. Nobody needs to talk. Okay. So great job with that, the dirt quiz. And an official good afternoon, RGSU.
Good afternoon, Miss Lockwood.
It is the last period of the day, so let's finish strong today. Yes, Jaden?
What does that mean?
No, I'm saying track Jaden.
The last class. As I was staring at the first page, when it says Miss Lockwood, how are we gonna think like you?
We're not there yet because we're going to do that at the end of the class today.
Well,
Okay, so let me explain what we're doing today. First, let's talk about what we did yesterday. So I need all eyes up here. SRT books are away. All ears open. Just track me first before we ask questions. First, let me explain what we're doing today. So yesterday in class, we started off class with the trait inventory survey, where you went down the list of different traits, like your eye color, your hair color, your hairline. What was another one? Who remembers another one? Jordan?
Your earlobes, are your earlobes detached or attached?
Good. Attached earlobes, detached earlobes. And we checked off which traits we had. And then we compared our traits with our classmates. What do we have in common with our classmates? What's different about us from our classmates? And then we read the nonfiction text, things that show and things that don't. As we read that text, we made connections with our activity, because the text was all about why we look the way we look, based on our genetic makeup. So how our genes are passed down from our grandparents to our parents to us, how we receive an allele from our mom and an allele from our dad, and that creates our gene for a certain trait. So we did that yesterday so that we can make deeper connections to what we read today. Because today, we're going to reread that section that you read for homework on Wednesday, that we just took our dirt quiz on. But we're going to read it a little bit more closely. So we're going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at how Via describes August's condition. And we'll annotate for what Via says and does about August's condition and how Via is affected by it. How Via is affected by August's condition connects to what we did yesterday in class with the genetic makeup. And as always, what we annotate in class will help us answer our exit ticket question. This is important because, as I said yesterday, ELA is a really special, unique subject because we get to cross over into other subjects when we read different texts. And yesterday we saw that with our miniature science lesson and how much fun that was. But through that, we're going to make a deeper connection to wonder today. Also, you're going to make a deeper connection with yourself throughout this lesson. You might start thinking more to yourself about what traits you have, what things you get from your parents, maybe what traits you have that you're just not expressing. Remember the difference between a dominant trait and a recessive trait. And we're also going to see that in our reading today as well. So, as you read, remember you're annotating for what Via says and does about August's condition and how she's affected by it so that we can answer the exit ticket question. So turn to the exit ticket. No, we're not at the exit ticket yet. We're going to take 30 quick silent seconds to read the exit ticket to ourselves and unpack the prompt. So circling, underlining keywords from the prompt. Take 30 quick silent seconds. The prompt is right here. Seconds. Eyes up here. So what are some keywords from the prompt? Sebastian?
I put, two ones I put is 2 details and support.
Good. So 2 details and support. What are the 2 details for, Sebastian?
To support your answer.
Okay, good. And what do we use details, what do we call that when we use details to support our answer? Jordan? Evidence. And when we use evidence from the text, what else should we include with our evidence? Jonathan?
We should use, we should elaborate.
Yes, you should explain your evidence. What else should you include with the evidence? Amaya? Not for this question, not for this prompt. Jayla? Good. Page numbers, paragraph numbers. So these are things that we should remember. So we're using two details to support our answer. Okay, what answer? What are we answering? What question is the prompt asking us? Daniel.
It is asking us how VIA is affected by August's condition.
Okay, so this is our question. How is VIA affected by August's condition? We're going to answer that question. We're going to use two details from the text to support our answer. But where are we going to find our answer, and where are we going to find our evidence? Crystal, where in the text? Does the prompt tell us? Because if the prompt tells us, then we should only look at exactly where in the text the prompt is telling us to look. Carla? Yes. So based on the chapters Genetics 101 and the Punnett square. So this is where you should be finding your answer and your evidence to support it. Yes?
We can, about like what we should add in, I think, we should also add a character motivation, problem solution, whatever.
So yeah, what do we call that when we're annotating for character motivation? Problem solution, lesson learned and theme. That is annotating for what? How many times have we said it? Alfred? Good, the genre-based thinking job. Yes, so of course you should always be annotating for the genre-based thinking job, except every day in class I try to give you a lens in which to look at how to annotate. So something very specific on what you should be looking for as you're reading, what you should annotate, so that you can better answer the guiding question of the day, which is, how is VIA affected by August's condition? So today we're annotating for what VIA says and does about August's condition and how she's affected by it. So any detail about what VIA says and does and how she's affected by August's condition, those are the three main things we're looking for today. So as we're reading, I'm going to be looking around. When we get to certain parts in the story, I'm going to be looking around, seeing that everybody is annotating. Everybody. Yes. Okay, so we can begin today. Let's open up to page 100. Is there a reason you're talking? Okay, is there a reason you're talking? You can push your exit ticket up to the side for now. No one should be writing anything for the exit ticket during class. The question will be up here, so you can look at it up here. So we should be open to page 100. Thank you, Jonathan. Yes. We're picking up from page 100 today. Great, so where we left off was where Via saw Mom standing in the hallway. Remember? She says she looked ghost-like or maybe angelic. And she wondered if her mom ever stood outside her door like that in the middle of the night. Now it's breakfast of the next day. Remember, as we read, to do what?
Annotate!
Okay, so I'll begin reading and then we'll popcorn read. Can you pick me up from school today? I said the next morning. smearing some cream cheese on my bagel. Mom was making August's lunch, American cheese on whole wheat bread, soft enough for Augie to eat. While August sat eating oatmeal at the table, Dad was getting ready to go to work. Now that I was in high school, the new school routine was going to be that Dad and I would take the subway together in the morning, which meant his having to leave 15 minutes earlier than usual. Then I'd get off at my stop and he'd keep going. And Mom was going to pick me up after school in the car. I was going to call Miranda's mother to see if she could drive you home again. Mom answered. No, Mom, I said quickly. You pick me up or I'll just take the subway. You know I don't want you to take the subway by yourself yet, she answered. Mom, I'm 15. Everybody my age takes the subway by themselves. She can take the subway home, said Dad from the other room, adjusting his tie as he stepped into the kitchen. Why can't Miranda's mother just pick her up again? Mom argued with him. She's old enough to take the subway, Dad insisted. Mom looked at both of us. Is something going on? She didn't address her question to either one of us in particular. You would know if you had come back to check on me, I said spitefully, like you said you would. So pause. Look at that line. Jot down a quick inference that you can make about how V is feeling based on what she says in the first line on page 101. You would know if you had come back to check on me, I said spitefully, like you said you would. Everyone should be jotting down an inference about how Via feels. So let's turn and whisper to our partner, and let's have the person on the left share their inference first. Turn and whisper. Let's come back together. Breathe. Eyes up here too. And in one, I heard some really great whispering going on over in this area. I could barely even hear these groups unless I walked by. So, what was an inference you made about how Via's feeling based on what she says? Crystal. Okay, good. We need to speak up a little louder, remember, so everybody can hear. I don't want to have to repeat everyone's answers. Prince? Okay. Let's try and keep in mind that let's respond to what our classmates say before we share our own opinion as well. So if you agree with what the person who spoke before you said or respectfully disagree, we have our habits of discussion sentence starters on our desk. So we can use these. So let's try and make it a discussion. Jaden?
Okay, my idea
Want me to come back to you?
my idea is related to Prince's idea because I knew she was like the way she was acting because she just wanted her mom to talk to her so they could like try and like things out like before an office day like these chapter.
Sebastian?
I agree with Jaden's idea because how he like I feel like he was saying that, oh, she just wants to talk and figure it out with her. And my idea is that Via's feeling like her mom spent a lot of time with Augie instead of her.
Okay. Let's use evidence to support our answer as well.
But,
When?
oh, okay. When she was like, you would know if you had come back to check on me. I said spitefully, like you said you would. Like she's like saying like you always with Augie instead of you like I told you I want you to come and check on me, but you didn't do that because you stuck without me.
Okay. All right. And one more. When was that? Okay. All right. Did you want to build on Wayne Consola?
No.
Okay. So what I'm hearing here is two things. I'm hearing that Via feels upset, mad, annoyed, like less of a priority to her mom than August is, because she spends a lot of time doing things for August. She said she would come back to talk to her. She didn't. She found her outside of August's room. She's wondering why she wasn't outside. She wonders if she ever goes outside of her room. That's one thing I'm hearing. I saw a lot of brain matches when your classmates were sharing out that idea. And then another thing that I was hearing is that Via is also upset that her mom won't let her take the subway by herself. So there's two different things going on. Maybe they're connected as well. We're going to continue to read. I want you to still keep it in mind. I want you to still keep that thought in mind. Continue to look for how Via feels. Jordan? Okay, I'm going to read just a little bit more. Oh, God, Via, said Mom, remembering now how she had completely ditched me last night. She put down the knife she was using to cut Augie's grapes, still a choking hazard for him because of the size of his palate. I am so sorry. I fell asleep in Augie's room. By the time I woke up, I know, I nodded indifferently. Oh, there's that word indifferently again. Can I have just someone quickly raise their hand and tell the class what the word indifferently means again so that we all remember? We talked about this word last week. Alfred? Right. Yeah, to not care, to not really show any emotion, positive or negative, either way. Indifferent does not make a difference. Mom came over, put her hands on my cheek, and lifted my face to look at her. I'm really, really sorry, she whispered. I could tell she was. It's okay, I said. Via. Mom, it's fine. This time I meant it. She looked so genuinely sorry, I just wanted to let her off the hook. Popcorn, can I have somebody read for me? Sebastian?
She kissed and hugged me, then returned to the grapes. So, is something going on with Miranda? She asked. Just that she's acting like a complete jerk, I said. Miranda's not a jerk, Aggie quickly chimed in. She can be, I yelled, believe me. Okay, then I'll pick you up, no problem, Mom said. Decisively.
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 I can't say
Decisively.
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 I can't say something.
Okay, I'll say it for you. Decisively.
Decisively. She
There you
ate the
go.
half grapes into a snack bag with the side of her knife. That was the plan all along anyway. I pick Augie up in school in the car and then we took you up. We'll probably get there about a quarter to 4. No, I said before she had even finished. Isabella, she can take the subway, said Dad impatiently. She's a big girl now. She's reading War and Peace, for crying out loud. What does War and Peace have to do with anything? Answered mom clearly annoyed. It means you don't have to pick her up in a car like she's a little girl. She said sternly.
Just pause really quickly. I want to point out one thing about the dialogue here. So just go back to the bottom of page 101 where you see Isabel, she can take the subway. Dad said, how did Dad say it, Jonathan?
That said it firmly.
What word is used? Dad said impatiently. Okay. What does War and Peace have to do with anything? Answered Mom. How is Mom feeling? Let's go straight from the text. Zaire?
Clearly annoyed.
Clearly annoyed. So Dad's tone is impatient. Mom's clearly annoyed. And then when we go to the top of page 102, Dad's speaking sternly. So, want to just point this out to you that as you're reading, try and make those connections with all of our lessons, especially the most recent one we had with dialogue and the importance of speech tags. So these speech tags are really carrying a lot of emotion for the characters. We are getting more information about how they feel and how they're saying what they're saying based on how they feel because of the speech tag. Was something to point out. Yes. Do you want to continue reading, Jordan? Okay. 1 second. Yes.
So, the dialogue didn't kind of make sense because I didn't see what the mother said after you said something. She just kept quiet after you said
Well, we stopped right there. We're going to continue reading now. Yes.
They made an illusion with War and Peace.
Yes. Great job, Jonathan. That was another illusion. So Wonder is just full of illusions. R.J. Palacio really loves making allusions to other stories. So War and Peace is another illusion. So Jordan.
Yeah, are you ready? Get your bag and let's go. I'm ready, I said, throwing on my backpack. Bye, Mom. Bye, Augie. I kissed them both quickly and headed toward the door. Do you even have a Metro card? Mom said after me. Of course, she said. She has a Metro card. It's your dad fully
Exasperated.
exasperated. Yeesh, Mama. Stop worrying so much. Bye, he said, kissing her on the cheek. Bye, big boy, he said to August, kissing him on the top of his head. I'm proud of you. Have a good day. Bye, Daddy. You too. Dad and I jogged down the steep stairs and headed down the block. Call me after school before you get on the subway. Mom yelled at me from the window. I didn't even turn around but waved my hand at her so she knew I heard her. Dad did turn around, walking backward for a few steps. War and Peace, Isabel, he called out, smiling as he pointed at me. War and Peace.
Okay. Great. All right. So that's just a little background now into the day. Now we're going to delve into the chapters for the exit ticket, or the sections. They're not really chapters, so sections for the exit ticket. So this is where we're really going to be looking at what Via says and does about August's condition, and looking for the details on how Via is affected by August's condition. Yes. I'm going to start reading this section. So Genetics 101. Both sides of Dad's families were Jews from Russia and Poland. Papa's grandparents fled the pogroms and ended up in New York City at the turn of the century. Tata's parents fled the Nazis and ended up in Argentina in the 40s. Papa and Tata met at a dance on the Lower East Side while she was in town visiting a cousin. They got married, moved to Bayside, and had Dad and Uncle Ben. Mom's side of the family is from Brazil, except for her mother, my beautiful grands, and her dad, Augusto, who died before I was born. The rest of my mom's family, all her glamorous aunts, uncles, and cousins, still live in Alto Leblon, a ritzy suburb south of Rio. Grandson Augusto moved to Boston in the early 60s and had Mom and Aunt Kate, who's married to Uncle Porter. Okay, so pause, turn and whisper to your partner. about what Via is describing in these first two paragraphs. Let's have the partner on the right speak first this time. This is the person on the right. We're going to come back together so our voices are off. Eyes up here. Great. Who would like to share? What is Via describing in the first two paragraphs here on page 103? Zaire?
She's describing that her family, she knows that where her family is from, and she can see if they have any genes for her.
Did she mention anything about her genes?
No.
What about her family is she talking about? Jaden?
I resonate with what Zaire said because
You what? Oh, resonate. Resonate means like to agree.
I resonate with Zaire said because I know the part like how he's talking about the family and like how they're talking about they're not talking about genes in this, but like I agree like how he added the word genes in there. So then like the family, literally I was saying it was talking about like how the family, how they connected and how they did different things.
Okay, so where the family is coming from, right? Where her family comes from. So on her dad's side, her family comes from Russia and Poland. Where does her mom's side of the family come from? Jayla? Brazil. Okay, so she's got a mix. Her family comes from different countries. Let's keep reading. Let's see why Via is talking about where her family comes from. Let's try and figure out her motivation here. Yes?
Not mine.
Okay. Just stop touching it. She didn't bother it. So I'm on paragraph 3. Read along with me, annotate as I read. Mom and Dad met at Brown University and have been together ever since. Isabel and Nate, like two peas in a pod. Oh, who's Isabel and Nate? Joyce.
August and Via's mom. Mom and dad.
Good. Okay. Just checking that you understand that. They moved to New York right after college, had me a few years later, and then moved to a brick townhouse in North River Heights, the hippie stroller capital of Upper Manhattan, when I was about a year old. Not one person in the exotic mix of my family gene pool has ever shown any obvious signs of having what August has. I've pored over grainy sepia pictures of long dead relatives in babushkas, black and white snapshots of distant cousins, and crisp white linen suits, soldiers in uniform, ladies with beehive hairdos, Polaroids of bell-bottomed teenagers and long-haired hippies, and not once have I been able to detect even the slightest trace of August's face in their faces. So when Via describes poring over grainy sepia pictures, she's talking about old photographs. So a sepia is kind of like nowadays when you guys do your fancy phone photo editing apps. You can use the sepia filter to make it look like it's an old photo.
I know that.
But back in the day, before there was digital cameras or cell phones, you had a classic camera which had film inside of it. Whatever picture you snapped was on the film. Whether you liked it or not, it was on the film. You couldn't see it until you developed the film. And it usually came out looking very sepia, especially over time, because more sepia looking. So she's talking about going back and looking at old photos of her family, which we know her family comes from different parts of the world. So some of her family relatives in babushkas, with the scarf over the head, in Russia, and then her other family in Brazil. Why is she going through old photographs of all of her family members? What is she looking for? Desmond.
She's looking for anyone, she's looking for any of them who has like all this space because it says here it says I've been able to and not once I have been able to detect even the slightest trace of August in there.
Excellent job. So she's looking for someone in her family who has any, yes, you want to go ahead?
I want to add on to what Desmond was saying. I think she's looking for anybody who inherited the same look Augie has. And I have something else to say. It's kind of similar. Like it has something to do with the thing that we're doing right now. My dad, he has something that his grandparents inherited to him. It's like one of those old phones. It was called like a beeper, I think.
Okay.
And then my dad has that inherited from his grandparents.
Okay. So yes, you can inherit like something physical, like a piano we talked about yesterday. You can inherit a piano. You can inherit a beeper. You can inherit traits as well. So she's looking to see if August inherited this trait. If there's anyone else in the family who has this trait, so that she could better understand where it came from. But she says not a one. Do you need something, Jordan?
No, I didn't want to say something.
Okay.
So I completely agree with all of them, and I think that it starts. Well, this is a something I think. I think that it starts that if Via hasn't found any picture of her dead relatives in her family that don't have a cleft palate, then probably August is the start of the cleft palate in his family.
Okay, so you're making a prediction. You can jot those down in your book. Yes.
My idea, you made a great point about, well, all of you guys made a great point about what happened, but like I said, well, basically the same thing, but what I would say, like in my own words, and yours, basically, it's kind of like what Frank said, basically, if he might be the start of it, and then maybe later on when he's grown up and he probably has a wife, maybe his kids might have the same thing, and then they start like joining a bigger family.
Okay, so let's actually read and find out. Let's read and find out. So not a one. Not a one. She did not find a single person in those pictures who had any trace of August's face. But after August was born, my parents underwent genetic counseling. They were told that August had what seems to be a previously unknown type of mandibulofacial dysostosis. I think I got it this time. So this is
Wait, I know it.
mandibulofacial dysostosis.